What if the Pope had gotten married instead of joining the church? What if a simple love letter from a 12-year-old boy had changed the course of history? This is the incredible story of Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the boy from Buenos Aires who became Pope Francis. From playing soccer on the streets of Argentina to becoming a global symbol of compassion and peace, his journey is filled with love, sacrifice, and powerful choices. But behind the white robes and kind smile was a man who once faced heartbreak, battled illness, and stood up for the forgotten. Ready to hear the story of a pope like no other? Jorge Mario Bergoglio was born on December 17, 1936, in Buenos Aires, Argentina, the eldest of 5 children to Italian immigrants, Mario and Regina Bergoglio. Growing up in the vibrant Flores neighborhood, young Jorge was surrounded by the warmth of family, the rhythm of tango, and the passion of soccer. He loved playing pickup games in the barrio, even if he jokingly admitted to being a pata dura, a player with 2 left feet. His family wasn't wealthy, but they were rich in love and faith, attending Mass regularly and instilling in Jorge a deep sense of community. Jorge was no stranger to life's highs and lows. His family nearly boarded the SS Principessa Mafalda, a ship that sank in 1927, but financial constraints kept them safe, a twist of fate that shaped his view of life's fragility. As a teenager, he worked as a janitor and studied chemistry, showing his knack for hard work and curiosity. But it was his faith that truly guided him, sparked by moments of prayer and reflection in his local church. Now here's where things get interesting. Did you know Pope Francis once had a love story that could have changed everything? Before he became a priest, Jorge was smitten by a young woman he met at a family wedding. In his autobiography, Hope, he describes her as dazzling, with beauty and intellectual radiance that left him sleepless for a week. He was so taken that he considered proposing. Imagine that, a world where Jorge Bergoglio settled down as a chemist with a family instead of becoming Pope. Amalia de Monte, 76, grew up in the same Flores neighborhood of Buenos Aires as Jorge Bergoglio and said that when the pontiff was 12, he wrote a letter declaring his love. Speaking to Argentinian TV, she said, "He said that if I didn't say yes, he would have to become a priest. Luckily for him, I said no. He had a crush on me. We used to play on the streets here. It was a quiet neighborhood then. He was very nice. We were 12, 13 years old, no more than that," she said. "He was wonderful. He was a proper guy." She said when she found out her former admirer had been made the first non-European pope for 1,300 years, she was shocked. But during a spiritual retreat, Jorge felt a profound call to the priesthood. He wrestled with his feelings, torn between love for this woman and a deeper love for God. Ultimately, he chose the path of service, joining the Jesuits in 1958. This decision wasn't just about giving up romance, it was about embracing a different kind of love, one that would touch the lives of millions. His story reminds us that love isn't just romantic, it's about sacrifice and purpose. As a Jesuit, Jorge's life was shaped by discipline, prayer, and a commitment to the poor. He taught literature, worked as a novice master, and rose through the ranks, becoming the Jesuit provincial superior by 1973. This was no easy time. Argentina was gripped by the Dirty War, a period of political violence. Jorge navigated these turbulent waters, quietly helping those at risk, though some criticized his approach. His leadership was marked by humility. He cooked for his community and lived simply, foreshadowing the Pope we know today. In 1992, he was named Auxiliary Bishop of Buenos Aires, and by 1998, he was Archbishop. He shunned luxury, taking the bus and living in a modest apartment. His focus was on the marginalized, visiting slums, washing the feet of prisoners, and advocating for the poor. This wasn't just duty, it was love in action, rooted in his belief that, as he later said, the heart of the human being aspires to love and to be loved. In 2013, the world watched as Cardinal Jorge Bergoglio stepped onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica as Pope Francis, the first Jesuit and first Latin American pope. He chose the name Francis after St. Francis of Assisi, the saint of poverty and peace. His first words, "Brothers and sisters, good evening," set the tone for a papacy of approachability. He refused the lavish papal apartments, opting for a simple guest house and drove a modest car. This wasn't showmanship, it was Jorge being Jorge. Pope Francis's papacy is defined by love and inclusion. He's embraced prisoners, refugees, and even those marginalized by society, famously saying, "If someone is gay and searches for the Lord, who am I to judge?" His encyclical Laudato Si calls for love of creation, urging us to care for our planet. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he stood alone in a rainy St. Peter's Square, praying for the world, a haunting image of his solidarity with humanity. Pope Francis often says, "The Church is a love story, not an institution." This belief runs through his teachings. He's spoken of God's love as tender and personal, saying, "How beautiful is the gaze with which Jesus regards us, how full of tenderness." His autobiography reveals a man who sees love as transformative, whether it's forgiving sinners or building bridges between faiths. He's met with victims of abuse, addressed global issues like climate change, and called for peace in war-torn regions, always emphasizing compassion over judgment. His love for sports, especially soccer, reflects his belief in community. He writes in hope that sports build bridges, not walls, fostering connection. Even his personal prayers, like one from his ordination, "I believe that other people are good and that I should love them without fear," show his commitment to seeing the best in others. At 88, Pope Francis faces health challenges, including a recent bout with pneumonia. Pope Francis died on Easter Monday, April 21, 2025, at the age of 88 at his residence in the Vatican's Casa Santa Marta. His death was announced by Cardinal Kevin Farrell, the Camerlengo of the Holy Roman Church, at 9:45 a.m. local time. The cardinal stated that Pope Francis returned to the house of the Father at 7:35 a.m. that morning, highlighting his lifelong dedication to serving the Lord and the Church, especially advocating for the poor and marginalized. Pope Francis had been hospitalized earlier in the year due to a severe bout of bilateral pneumonia and bronchitis, which worsened his respiratory condition. After 38 days in hospital, he returned to Casa Santa Marta to continue his recovery, but ultimately passed away there. He had a history of respiratory issues dating back to his youth. Who would have thought a simple love letter from a 12-year-old boy could lead to a life that changed the world? Pope Francis didn't just wear the white robes. He carried the weight of love, sacrifice, and humanity on his shoulders. From heartbreak to hope, from the streets of Buenos Aires to the heart of the Vatican, his story proves that one choice can shape millions of lives. What do you think would have happened if he had chosen love over faith? And do you believe a single decision can rewrite destiny? Share your thoughts below, and if this story moved you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs a little inspiration today, and don't forget to follow for more powerful stories like this.